In this session, we will discuss about the convergence of series, and thereafter we will discuss about the applications of sequence and series. First, we will look about the convergence of series. Uh, the sequence of partial sum is a convergent sequence. We have discussed about the convergence of sequence in the previous session. In the previous session, we have identified how we can obtain the convergence of a sequence. Therefore, if the sequence of partial sum is a convergent sequence, then the series is also called convergent. Therefore, if you can find out a convergent sequence, in the sense, it implies that the limit exists and it is a finite value. As n goes to infinity, we are getting a finite value, and it says that the limit exists, then we are calling such sequence as convergent sequence. Therefore, if you get the partial sum of such a sequence, then we can say the series is also a convergent series. Therefore, in that situation, we can say that as n goes to infinity, we can say that Sn, it is the summation of, or the partial sum of the sequence denoted by Sn. As n goes to infinity, if we are getting a finite value as S, then we can say that the series also a convergent series. Therefore, if we if we expand this without using the limit as n goes to infinity, Sn is supposed to be the summation. Therefore, if we are taking the summation of the terms up to the nth term, including from the first term, then we can write down, instead of taking this limit as n goes to infinity Sn, we can rewrite it as summation of an as I goes from 1 to infinity. Then if we are getting the value as s, it would be a finite value, then we can say that the series is a convergent series. In the similar manner, if we can, if the partial sum of a sequence is, we are saying as divergent, and simply if the sequence is supposed to be divergent, then we say that the series is also a divergent series. Divergent in the sense, if you are taking the summation, or if you are taking the summation by sending the n to infinity, if the limit does not exist, or it is not as a finite value, or if you are getting it as the summation as a piecewise function, having the plus or minus, or it is having with the plus infinity or minus infinity. Likewise, if, as n goes to an odd value, or infinity, where if you are considering it as odd or even, then it is simply as 2n or 2n plus 1 as n goes to infinity. If you are getting two n's as the limit of that series, then such also said to be divergent series. Therefore, we have discussed about this matter in the, when we are discussing about the convergence or the divergence of a sequence. Therefore, if the sequence is divergent, then we can definitely say that the series is also a divergent series. But apart from taking this as but the concept is this, but when we are trying to do it in a practical situation, so if you are trying to apply the calculations, then this would not be that much easier. Therefore, we are, apart from considering about finding out the partial sums, we may use the test called the test of divergence. Therefore, apart from using these, it is better to use the test of divergence. Using this, we can definitely say that the series is divergent. This test just determine whether the series is divergent. If it is, if this condition is not satisfied, we can say whether they say that the we have to say whether the series is divergent or convergent. Here, what we are going to do is, suppose that if we are getting the series Sn, it is the summation of an terms. Suppose that if what we are going to do is, we are trying to finding out the convergence of a series. Therefore, according to the theory, what we need to do is we need to find out what will happen if n goes to infinity in this series. Therefore, what we can do is instead of this limits, we can write this as summation of n goes from 1 to infinity an. This is what we need to find out. Therefore, apart from finding out this summation, what we are going to do under the test of divergence, if you need to find out the summation of n goes from 1 to infinity, we need to find out the quantity n. Apart from finding this, we are trying to identify what will happen to n as n goes to infinity. We are going to find out what will happen to an as n goes to infinity. If we find out that if as an goes to infinity, as n goes to infinity, if an does not equal to 0, if an does not equal to 0, then we are saying that series is divergent. Here we are not going to find out whether this sequence is convergent or divergent. We just need to find out what will happen to the nth term as n goes to infinity. If we are getting this value as this is not equal to 0, definitely we can say that series is divergent. But if this happen as n goes to infinity, if n gets the value as 0, then we have to say that we cannot take straightforward decision. In here we can say that the series is convergent, or else it can be divergent. Convergent, or it can be divergent. Therefore, if you are getting this an equals to 0 as n goes to infinity, we are not going to take any decision based on this. What we are going to do is we are finding out what will happen to an as n goes to infinity. If this value does not equals to 0, then we can directly take the decision that the series is divergent. Therefore, this is called as the test of divergence. Now we will have a quick look on the determining of the following series are convergent or divergent. If I take the first one, it is said to be the first one is ask us to find out whether the series summation n goes from 1 to infinity, n is convergent or divergent. The first method that we can consider is the test of divergence. Therefore, what we can do is we can find out this is the value for an. The nth term can be considered as n. Then we are going to find out limit of an as n goes to infinity. Then we can find out this is equal to infinity, which is not equal to 0. Therefore, we can say that series is divergent. Therefore, we can take a straightforward decision. The series is divergent. It is because using the test of divergence, we can say that if this n does not equal to 0 as n goes to infinity, we can say that series is divergent. Or else what we can do is, apart from writing this, first we'll try to say this as if it is summation of r goes from 1 to n, we'll take it as r. Okay, we'll take in this way. If the summation of n goes from 1 to p, here we will take the value of n. We know that this is the summation of first p number of terms. Therefore, we can take this as what we know is in the previous session we have discussed. The summation can be taken as p divided by 2 times p plus 1. Now, what we are going to do is we need to, instead of having p here, we need to say the value of infinity. Then we can say as the limit of p goes to infinity, we can found this as n goes from 1 to infinity. Here it is, this is what we are getting, 1 to p, but p goes to infinity. Therefore, again, we can say this is also goes to infinity. But apart from taking this as infinity divided by 2 times infinity plus 1, therefore, it is not a very good way that to obtain this or show this series as a divergent. Therefore, the best method that we can use is the test of divergence. Therefore, using the test of divergence, we can simply obtain the series is divergent or not. In the second one, we'll take it as n goes to infinity. It is 1 over n squared. 1 over n squared minus 1. Here, if you try to apply the test of divergence, what we can do is we can find out this is the value for an. It is an equals 1 over n squared minus 1. Therefore, if you substitute or if you send the value of n to infinity an, then this will happen as 1. Here we can take limit n goes to infinity. Here we can take it is n squared minus 1. What you can do is we can divide all the terms by n squared first. It is the highest order term that we can see. Then we can have it as 1 over n squared. Then here we'll get it as 1. Then again 1 over n squared. Once you send the value of n to infinity, we will get here it is 1 over it is infinity. Then divide 1 divided by infinity, it becomes 0. Then 1 minus 0, we will get this as 0. But according to the test of divergence, what we had considered was, if we are getting the an equals to 0 as n goes to infinity, we can either say that series is convergent or divergent. We cannot take a straightforward decision on this matter. Here we can say that series can be convergent, series is convergent, or it can be divergent. We cannot take a straight decision on this matter. Therefore, what we are going to do is there are some other methods that we can use to find out the exact limit. But in this session, I am not going to discuss this up to that much level. Here, what we just need to find out is whether the series is convergent or divergent. Therefore, now we'll try to write down this sequence first. If you substitute n equals 1, we will get it as 1 over 1 squared minus 1. Then next term would be 1 over 2 squared minus 1. Then 1 over 3 squared minus 1. Likewise, 1 over 4 squared minus 1. If you find out the values, then 1 over 1 squared minus 1, it is 1 divided by 0. Then it is 2 to the power 2, it is 4 minus 1, 3. Then 3 to the power 3 minus 1, 8. Then 4 to the power 4 minus 1, 4 to the power 2 minus 1, 15. Likewise, we are getting this sequence. But as soon as you see the sequence, you can see that the first term itself goes to infinity. Therefore, this term goes to infinity. Then we can simply say that the series is since we can find out the sequence is divergent, we can say that the series will be a divergent, is because at the initial we are getting a um, infinite value. But if you are taking this from n goes from 2, then we have to consider the series from this point. Therefore, in this situation, we can find out the series is a convergent series. Therefore, from the starting point of the n, we have to consider that as well. Therefore, it also determine whether the series becoming convergent or divergent. If you are considering n equals 2, and it is from onwards of n equals 2, then we can find out the series is convergent. But here we have to consider from n from 1 to infinity. But if n goes to 1, then what will happen is the very first term becomes the infinite term. Therefore, we have to say that the series is a divergent series. And I will take the third example as well. In the third example, it is given as the third example, it is given as summation of n goes from 1 to infinity minus 1 to the power n. In the when you are finding out the sequence itself, what we have done was we can say it is not equal to 0. It is because it is, we can write it as a piecewise function. If you try to do it, we can take n is minus 1 to the power n. Then if you are taking the limit of n as n goes to infinity, we can find out limit of minus 1 to the power n as n goes to infinity. We can find out this as two ways. What will happen if n is a odd number or n is even number? Then if it is 2n, or if it is 2n minus 1. Therefore, in this situation, we can find out if it is a positive value, it will become 0. Otherwise, we will get it as minus 1. Therefore, this is what we are getting as n goes to 0, n goes to infinity. Therefore, it is not going to a finite value. Therefore, definitely we can find out the sequence is divergent. Here we are not going to use what we are saying as the test of divergence. Here what I have found was using the convergence of sequence, but definitely we have identified that the series is divergent, the sequence is divergent. Therefore, simply we can say series is also divergent. Series is divergent. Therefore, this is how we are finding out the convergence of sequence of series. And now we will discuss about the applications of sequence and series. Now we will discuss about the applications of sequence and series. According to that, the first question: a child building a tower with blocks using 15 for the bottom row, and each row has two fewer blocks than the previous row. Suppose that there are 8 rows in the tower. How many blocks are used for the top row? And the second one is, what is the total number of blocks in the tower? Okay. If you just have the graphical representation of this question, the first question, uh, it says that a student is building a tower using the blocks. Then for the basement, uh, it was altogether 15 blocks. Therefore, in this row, it is 15 blocks. And when this child is building the next row, he is using the number of blocks reduced by 2 for building the next row. Therefore, if you find out the number of blocks, then it would be 15 minus 2. Then for the next row, again another 2 has reduced. Then it is 15 minus 2 was the quantity here. Then another minus 2 has considered. Likewise, this child is building this block or building this tower. Therefore, it is asking about what is in the first part. What is the what is the number of blocks in first row, and then it is total blocks. First, we need to identify what is the pattern going here. Now we can find out as the number of rows are getting increased. Then for each row, number of blocks is reduced by 2 units. Therefore, we can say that it is common for each row. Then we can say it is quite as a, the common term has subtracted from each row, then we can say it is as a common difference. Therefore, if you consider about any two consecutive rows, we will have a common difference among them. Therefore, then we can identify it is as somewhat a arithmetic progression. Then if you consider the concept of the arithmetic progression, here we are asked to find out the number of blocks in row number 1. Altogether, what we know is altogether there are 8 rows. Altogether, there are 8 rows. It is provided as the information, and in the first row, there were 15 blocks. Then if you consider about the first term, it is now equal to, of the arithmetic progression, it is now equal to 15. But the common difference, it says that if it is going from the first one to second one, it is subtracted by 2 units. Then reduced by 2 units. Again reduced by 2 units. Likewise, it is getting reduced. Now you can find out in between any two consecutive values, we will have a common difference. Then this difference is minus 2, or less the first term subtracted from the latter term, then we will get this as minus 2. Now we are asked to find out number of blocks in row 1. Row 1 in the sense, if you numbered in the reverse way, if this is the bottom row, then it is like 1 2 3, altogether there were 8 rows. Then we can say value of n is equal to 8. Now we are finding, we are asked to find out what is the value of a8. A8 can be taken as, this can be considered as a1, it is the basement. Then a1 plus n minus 1 times d. A1 in the sense, it is 15 blocks were used, n is now equal to 8, then minus 1, d is equal to minus 2. 15 plus 7 times minus 2, in the sense we will get the value as 1. Therefore, we can find out there is only one block in the first row. Now we need to find out the total number of blocks. Since there are altogether 8 rows, we can use all these values now. We need to find out the value of S8, not this n. Here n was 8. Total number of blocks. This can be taken as the equation n divided by 2 times a plus L can be used here, since we know what is the number of blocks in first row as well as in the last row. Then we can find out this value, n is equal to 8, then divide by 2. In the first row there were 15 blocks, in the last row there is only one block. Then altogether we are getting 8 divided by 2 times 16, and once you solve this, we'll get altogether 64 blocks in this uh, in the building of this plane tower. I will move for the second question. An insect population is growing in such a way that each new generation is 1.5 times as large as the previous generation. Suppose that there are 100 insects in the first generation. In the first part, it asks how many will be there in the fifth generation, and the second one, what will be the total number of insects in the 5 generations. Okay, now we will see this question number 2 now. The question number 2, it says that for the if there is there will be an insect generation, and for the next generation this would be 1.5 times large. 1.5 times large. If this is the second generation, this would be 1.5 times larger as the first generation. And if you consider about the third generation, then third generation would be 1.5 times larger than the second generation. Therefore, here we can see it is like a somewhat like a geometric progression. Then we'll see how we can find out the solution. In the first generation, it says that there is there are 100 insects, and they are asking what is the number of insects in the fifth generation. In the first part, they're asking about what is the number in the fifth generation, and in the next part, it is asking uh, the total number in all five generations. Therefore, these are the things we have to find out. Here it is given as this is the first value. We can identify that for for the next generation it will be 1.5 times the current generation. Therefore, using that concept, we can find out this using the geometric progression. In the first one, we can find out the values. The provided information, we know that the first value or the initial value is 100 and it is having an increase in ratio. Then we can find out the ratio is it is 1.5. It is because the second generation would be 1.5 times first generation, third would be 1.5 times second generation. That is why we are taking r equals 1.5, and we may take that value of n is now equal to 5. Is because we need to find out the number of insects in the fifth generation. Then we can take this the equation n equals a times r to the power n minus 1. Then we can find out a5. It is now equal to 100 times r is now equal to 1.5 times n to the power 1. It is 5 minus 1. In here we can find out this value, or this is equal to um, 506.25. Then we have to, here it is more than 506 insects. In the sense, we have to always round up this. Then we can say if we are rounding or rounding up, it would be 507, but it is not necessary to do this. But since according to the situation, we have to think about there cannot be any quarter or any half of insects. That is why we are taking this as 507. But in the mathematical aspect, we can take this as 506.25. But in the practical approach, we have to always round it up. It is because there cannot be any half or quarter or three quarters. That's why we can take this as 507. Then we are asked to find out the total number of insects in all five generations. Then we need to find out the value of S5. S5 can be taken by the equation a times r to the power n minus 1 divided by r minus 1 r to the power n. Then a is equal to 100, the number of insects in first generation. R is 1.5 to the power 4 minus 1 divided by 1.5 minus 1. Here we can get, by solving this, we can get this value as 1318.75. This can be also round up as 1390. In the practical approach, we have to consider this always in the rounding up value. Therefore, we can take this value as 1390. Now we will move for the discussion of the third question. A mobile game rewards 500 coins at the initial day of playing the game. If a person plays the game in the next day as well, the player rewards the amount with additional 5% to each new day. Suppose that the person has continued the playing the game for 2 weeks, and the first part it asks how much coins will be player has rewarded at the 14th day, and for the next one, what is the total reward for the 2 weeks time period? Okay, now if you consider about the third question, it is also quite like similar to the thing that we have discussed in the second question. It is because for each day we are getting somewhat additional to the amount which exists in the previous day. if you consider about the third question, then if you have somewhat from this day, then 5% additional, 5% additional will be rewarded in the following day. It is quite like if we are having 100 items or 100 coins today, then we are getting additional 5% for this 100. If it is 100, then 5% additional, then it would be 105. Altogether we are getting 105. But in the, it is because 5% additional on this. Then we can take the next one. It is 5% additional for this 105. It is now we can take it as 105 plus it is the initial amount that we are having, then 5% additional. 5% additional in the sense we can take the next one as it is 5% additional to 105. Then we are getting additional 5.25. Likewise, we are getting the additional amounts. Therefore, now we can say that this is also geometric progression. Then in the first day, they are having, according to the problem, they are rewarding 500 coins at the initial game of the initial day of playing the game. And it says that continued for 2 weeks and additional 5 will be rewarded. Okay, now we'll see about this calculation. In here, first one, it says that in the first day, it gets the 500 coins. Then in the additional, it is getting 5%. In the additional, in the sense, they are getting altogether, oh, it is improved by 1.05. It is quite like if it is 100, then next day it is 105. Then if you convert to the ratios, then we can take it as r equals 1.05. And they are saying that the play is playing for continuously 2 weeks time period. 2 weeks in the sense if you are converting it into days, it is equal to 14 days. They are asking what is the amount rewarded at the 14th day. Then a 14 has to be find out. It can be written as a1 plus n minus 1 times, here it is not the arithmetic progression. A 14, it is a1 times r to the power n minus 1. A1 in the sense 500, r is 1.05, n is 14 minus 1. Once we perform the calculation, we'll get this accurate to 2 decimal places, 942.82. And if we are rounding it, always we have to round up this. It is because this is the minimum that the player is rewarding, then it is 943. Then at if the player continues, of the player continues the game for consecutively 14 days, at the 14th day the player rewards 943 coins. It is for the first part. In his next part, it is asking what is the total reward that he has obtained for these 2 weeks time period. Then we need to find out 14 days summation. As 14 can be considered as a times r to the power n minus 1 over r minus 1. Then a was equal to 500, r is equal to 1.05, to the power 14 has to be considered, n is equal to 14, then minus 1 divided by 1.05 minus 1. Then if you perform this calculation, here we will get this as 9,799.31. And if you also round this up, then we'll get this as 9,800 coins. Altogether 9,800 coins. And this is all what I need to discuss for this session. And thank you all for your participation.